Hey guys, and welcome to DDP TV. And today it is Wrasslin Wednesdays on the Real DDP blog. And just give you little updates on what's happening. If you go to DiamondDallasPage.com, I got a brand new site. It's almost finished. You can go check it out before I put the announcement out there. But it is very cool. My buddy Robert did an amazing job. So you might want to go back over to DiamondDallasPage.com and check that out. Today on the Real DDP blog, I'm going to be talking about one of my very best friends on the planet, but absolutely in the business. We've been best bros for, well, almost 20 years now. And I'm talking about none other than a guy who's about to cross over in my life in the wrestling world back in 1991. I'm talking about Kevin Nash. Later known as Big Sexy, Diesel, Dr. X, Oz, Kev had Vinny Vegas. That's where Kevin and I crossed paths for the first time. Now, we'd hung out together a little bit, but once you become tag team partners with somebody, where you're on the road all the time. I remember one time flying in from wherever I was at, and Kev came to the airport and picked me up. And I said, dude, I really appreciate you coming in and actually picking me up. He goes, dude, we're tag team partners, man. He goes, I gotta look after my boy. And that's the way Kev was, man. Still is today. We had an amazing run together, starting off with a video that I put as part of the blog on the Real DDP blog of Nash and I as the Vegas Connection. My buddy Dylan found it. And Dylan also did a compilation video that we're calling When Paths Cross. You know I'm ADD and dyslexic, so I can use that excuse for everything. So When Paths Cross, starting out with the Vegas Connection, and then Nash going to the WWF and me staying at WCW. What had happened when Nash and I were tagging, and at one point we were wrestling against Tex Slazenger and Shanghai Pierce, and I'd thrown Shanghai, who was 6'6", 300-something pounds, hit that turn, you know, the ropes, and normally he'd come off flat, and I'd hit him with a big elbow, but he came off with his elbow as a shoulder turn. So when I went to hit him, I think I was probably too close, because he hit the ropes, came off, and he hit me in the back of my shoulder, and bang! I blew out my rotator cuff. Boom, we went down. I felt like someone stuck a knife and pulled it, just stabbed me in my shoulder. It was so painful. I crawled over, I tagged Kevin, and I said, bro, don't tag me in. I think I broke my shoulder. I had no idea. I never felt this kind of pain before. Well, we get into the end of the match. I'm pulled myself up in the corner waiting for the match to end, so I go in the back and just, find out what's happening here, ice my shoulder or something. And here comes Tex running at me for the four-way. We're supposed to have all four of us in the ring at the end. I'm like, please, please don't hit me. Bam! He hit me. I dropped to the floor. It was ridiculously painful. The bottom line is it put me out. And then over that period of time, Nash and I were still talking a lot, and he was just he was really angry and depressed about how they were treating him there, and he was ready to quit and go back to the nightclub business, because that's where Nash and I both come from. Back in the day, I ran nightclubs, and he ran strip clubs. I think he had the better idea, the two of us. I sort of ran strip clubs, but they weren't really like strip clubs. But Kevin and I had a lot in common, so we bonded together differently than I did with the other guys in the business, because we had so much in common. And he was getting ready to quit, and I was like, bro, no, you cannot quit. You are going to be a huge name in this business. You just got to keep moving forward, because it's going to happen. And just like Scott credited me with helping him come into WCW and help him redo his whole character to become the Diamond Stud, which later become Razor Ramon, which ideally would become Scott Hall, Nash credited me with giving him the drive to say, yeah, screw you, I'm still going forward. And he's still going to do it. And then, of course, he went, it was actually the Steiners, a little behind the scenes here, the Steiners who had mentioned to Shawn Michaels, Big Kev, Kevin Nash, he might be a great bodyguard for you. And boom, he got that call. And he went up there, and well, the rest is history. I mean, what a great, I mean, who better to learn from than one of the greatest workers on the planet, Shawn Michaels? I mean, to be there right there in his corner for a year. I mean, God, Kev learned so much. He was an amazing ring general, Shawn Michaels, obviously. But within a year, he was the world champ. And, you know, his ascension, and Dylan really captured in this highlight video what I was doing at the time and what Kev was doing at the time and how we were coming up. Of course, he was way up here. I was still down here. But it was actually... When Bischoff actually asked me, he said that, do you think, you know, Nash would be interested in coming in? You know, because he had this idea. So I became like the conduit that actually helped bring Nash into WCW, never knowing that Hall was coming in too, because Bischoff kayfabed me. So when he came in, I mean, what a huge impact. Of course, I talked about this last week on the Real DDP blog, that Scott made a huge impact when he came in. But he said, I'm bringing the big guy. And when Nash got there, God, those guys just killed everybody. But again, true to life, because I really did have a relationship with him. Even though I wasn't going to be the third guy, or the fourth guy, or the fifth guy, I had the real relationship with those guys. So when they were never killing everybody, they didn't kill me, which was an amazing thing, because Sting at the time in the 90s, you know, he was bummed out because however happened with the fans or whatever, and he went up in the rafters and became the Crow Sting, which was huge for him, but it was great for me because Lex was the only real top guy who stayed, so that left a spot for someone to make their way, and the people got behind me, and that's, I think, that Dylan really grabbed in this highlight video that he shows of Nash and I as we're coming up, and then as we get to each other. One of my fondest moments ever with Nash in the ring was our first, after being the Vegas Connection. Randy Savage had tore his Achilles, had a slight tear, and so he couldn't wrestle the next month. So we had all these main event spots. So different guys had to fill in for him, and it had to be Nash or Hall. So Nash, the first time that we get in the ring, it's Pittsburgh, and the place goes crazy for Kevin, and you know, he throws up the Wolfpack sign, and I come in, they go crazy for me, and I throw up the Diamond Cutter, everybody does that, and it was like such a fevered pitch, and Nash with his fingers up, he looks at me and he goes, "The Vegas Connection, it'll never be nothing, brother," and I just popped, and boom, we locked up, and the place exploded, and it was back and forth. People would cheer for me, cheer for him, cheer for me, cheer for him, and then he finally healed on me, and everybody booed him out of the building. And Kevin actually took the Diamond Cutter that night, which was so sweet. You know, he was a true warrior, man. He had a lot to do with you know, what happened in my career. I was just doing a radio show just before I did this right here in the Square Circle from Chicago, and Frankie Rodriguez was asking me about when I became the world champion. At the time, it was Nash who was the booker. And when they came up to that four-way, Hogan, Sting, and Flair, and me, it was Nash who said, "Dally needs to be the world champion." And he said Hogan looked at him and Hogan looked at him and said, "Absolutely." And so, you know, it all comes down to relationships. And you've heard me talk about this on this blog before. It's not about who you know or who knows you. It's about who's willing to say they know you. You know, today I look at Nash and the TNA still, and it blows my mind. This cat is 51. He's had 17 knee operations, and he's still out there doing it. And not cheating it, because he's the big man, so he don't have to leave his feet that much. Never did. He is really an amazing specimen. I always say that, you know, I'm in pretty damn good shape. There's really no one who's in my shape at 54, except for Nash, who's 51, and he's the only son of a bitch who looks better than me. I mean, he looks amazing. I gotta tell you a story. One time we walked into a strip joint, go figure. Walked to a strip joint. The girls gave him a standing ovation. It was an amazing ride. Okay, that's all I got for you. I'm running out of time. Don't miss YRG Radio on Thursdays, 9 o'clock. See you, monkeys. Bang! No, go out, go out. Oh, it didn't go. All right. We'll see if it lasts more than 10 minutes. If not, I'm going to have to do this whole thing over again. Son of a bitch, for the bang, I ate it. So I'm going to get you a good one. All right, you've been wonderful. You've been marvelous. But see ya. Bang! Son of a bitch. I hope this works.